I started hearing this beeping sound from someone's backpack, and then all of a sudden, like, literally the whole plane turns off. This drunk guy was like picking up this fucking post and like running after these people, and I'm like, God, and then the police came. I was a fucking mess. Like, I was crying in the airport. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're already subscribed. I make psychology and philosophy inspired videos. I also like to document my pole dancing journey, so if you guys are interested in that, feel free to hit that subscribe button. For my returning subscribers, or I guess that's just subscribers, you know that I've been kind of, what's that word, there's some kind of acronym or whatever. I don't even know if it's called an acronym, but I've just been gone for a while, for like a month, because honestly I've just been, and I hate making excuses, but I really have had to focus on myself and my own mental health, and I think it's very important for people to take time off and sacrifice certain things if they need to take time for themselves. My channel is kind of all about, you know, taking care of yourself and self-help, or like improvement and stuff, so sometimes that is what is required. I had a few things happen in my life. One of the things, and it's the biggest thing, I'm actually planning on writing a book on it, and I am probably gonna make a video in the future about it, so stay tuned for that. I don't want to be too hung up on that. I'm trying to just build myself up again and start making videos again. So hey, I'm back. Also, I got, if you can't tell, a ring light. I'm actually filming at night right now. It's like getting dark out, which is kind of weird. I'm not used to that. But yeah, I feel like you can see all my flaws now because there's like a really bright light on me, but whatever. So today's video, I actually thought that I would do something related to, because I went back to Norway to deal with this event or whatever that happened to me and stuff. And my trip home was the most eventful trip I've ever had, and I've traveled so many times in my life because my mom's Canadian, my dad's Norwegian, and so every year we'd go back and forth to Canada. I've also been some places in Europe because my dad's a pilot, so I've been traveling a bunch, and I haven't really had that many issues traveling. It's just funny that I had a bunch of issues this time. Like, it was just like issue after issue, and I don't know. I kind of like doing storytime videos. I also want to include some storytime videos on my channel because I want to show a more fun side of me rather than just philosophy and psychology and serious stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of things that went wrong on this trip, and some of it's kind of funny, I guess, so I wanted to share this with you guys. So this is gonna be my fucking, I don't know, chaotic, catastrophic trip, or like, I don't even know what I'm gonna title it, but it's gonna be a video just about my fucked up trip home and back. Like, I had things happen both ways, both going to Norway and coming back to Canada, which is where I live right now. Yeah, I feel like this light is so like getting me really warm. But anyways, I have some notes on my computer, so I'm just gonna get right to it so this video doesn't get too long. I hope you guys find this interesting or funny. It's kind of just including you guys in my life a bit on my trip home. I find it kind of funny that this one particular trip was so eventful when I'm going for something really hard, and it's like, wow, like just add to it, why don't you? I don't know if you guys believe in like the law of attraction. Maybe that's why, because I was thinking negative thoughts because of this event, which understandably, maybe I was attracting these events to happen to me. Anyways, I'm gonna get into it. I'm just babbling. I missed being on camera. Here I am. I already feel happier being back on camera. Yeah. So it all started with, we were on the plane so I went from Winnipeg to Toronto to Reykjavik in Iceland, to Oslo, and then to Haugesund, which is where I'm from in Norway. And it all really, I think this actually was what caused a lot of the other events. So what happened was, the very first event that happened was that I started hearing this beeping sound from someone's backpack, or like from somewhere in the airplane. Like, it almost sounded like a ticking clock, which is like, you know, you kind of start to think, maybe it's, you know, you kind of think bomb because of terrorist things, right? And I'm like, oh, whatever, like, and then after a while, this flight attendant starts holding up this backpack, and she's like, whose backpack is this? Whose backpack is this? And then no one's really responding, and I'm like, oh fuck, like, and it's making this beeping sound, and maybe I'm just over dramatic in my head and thinking, you know, what if this is a bomb? And you know, I'm just like, oh my god, like, I'm not really freaking out, but kind of thinking it, and people were kind of looking around like, what's happening right now? And then endly, fucking, I just put a Norwegian word in. It's like my friend says, my immigrant's showing. But then finally, someone took the bag. I'm guessing maybe they had the headphones in, and so they didn't notice that they were calling and holding their bag up, and so it seemed like it was just a phone alarm. But then it happened again, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Yeah, and then the person went and got it again and I guess turned off the alarm. But that isn't all. So right after this happened, the pilots just happened to announce over the thing, like the speaker thing, that we're diverting to Ottawa instead of Toronto. And I'm like, come again? Like, what? I'm like it was like 5 minutes later and I'm thinking, what's wrong? And then people are asking what's wrong, like, you know, why are we diverting? And they're like, and this is the part that I find stupid. They're like, we can't give you guys any information right now. Toronto airport has closed down and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm starting to think that it's like some kind of, what's it called, like, collaborative event, like terrorist event, kind of like 9/11. And so, you know, with the like taking of this backpack and stuff, I'm thinking, oh god, like I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm starting to freak out a bit, and I can see other people are kind of, no one's in a panic, but people are kind of like looking around like, what is going on? And then they're like not giving you a straight answer. They say they can't give us an answer. Turns out what it really was that it was just weather. And this is true because when I landed in Toronto finally, like probably like 4 hours later, there was many other delayed flights, and I did look at the weather forecast and it did look like it was the weather, but then I'm thinking, why didn't they just say that at first? Especially considering they just held up this bag and it was like beeping and like sounded like it could be like a bomb. I think that was just someone's phone though. I was just being dramatic in my head, but I mean, you would probably put 2 and 2 together too if your flight diverted right after that especially. And so yeah, that's where it all started. And so because we diverted to Ottawa, I now miss my flight from Toronto to Reykjavik in Iceland. Let me see, I have notes here. Yeah, and then, you know, I landed in Toronto and I'm thinking, okay, I'll see if I can get another flight. I didn't think I'd get another flight, but then it turns out actually they did have a later flight to Reykjavik later in the day. But people in Toronto were so like unhelpful, and here's actually something I wanted to include in this video. I made sure to be really nice to the people that I talked to at the help desk, so I was really nice to them. You know, I said, how are you? Because I could tell them maybe we were stressed because so many people were wanting help. There's several flights that diverted, like the airport actually did close for a bit, and so I was really nice. And then I found that they just kind of treated me as a pushover, and like, but I still wasn't mean to anyone. But I wanted to include in this video, I despise it when some people just get mad because they diverted. Like, it's almost like they're mad that they diverted. But what I have to say to you guys is, would you rather fucking like crash in a storm than divert and, you know, maybe get delayed for your flights? And maybe it would fuck you up majorly for some event, but at least you're not dying. Like, I don't know, I wanted to send that reminder out here. I find people misplace where they're mad. I can see it, like I got annoyed in Toronto when I found people weren't actually really being helpful, and kind of I was like a pushover. They weren't like, I don't know, there was just a bad vibe, and like I didn't find them that helpful, and so I got annoyed at that. I still wasn't mean to them though, mind you. I was never mean. I would say you can always be stern with someone and say, look, I need this help. But I don't know, I just don't like I saw people get mad, and like you always see that kind of in those situations. And I just wanted to remind people, with airplanes, if they are diverting somewhere, they're diverting for a good reason. Probably for your safety. They don't want to lose a bunch of money, which they probably did because they had to compensate people. The airlines, you know, they're like, if they're diverting, there's a fucking reason. Like, they're not doing it for fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're doing it for safety. So, do you want to die? No? Okay, so don't complain about the diverting itself. I mean, you can still be a little annoyed because, of course, you'd want it to be like a smooth flight. But at the same time, don't be like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was like annoyed, of course. Like, I wanted to just have a smooth flight and not deal with this stuff. But I've never been like actually mad. Oh my god, like, did they have to divert and shit like that? I find that so irrational when people kind of are mad that they diverted and didn't land or something. Like, they're like, I heard people say, oh, the weather isn't that bad and stuff like that, and I'm like, bitch, the pilots know what the fuck they're doing. You don't. Like, sometimes it'll be like not look that bad to civilians, but if you look at like certain fucking, I don't know, wind forces and stuff, like, it is bad. So I heard people say shit like that, and I'm like, bitch, you could die. So anyways, once I got to Toronto also, and this is just a small thing, I just found this whole trip so funny. That's why I want to tell you guys about it. I just don't understand how so many events can happen in one trip. So actually, when I was in Toronto, I think I actually saw like my ex As I was like I had a little meltdown because I didn't find that people helped me, so I was like crying and stuff. I didn't say hi or anything. I still am not sure if it was him, but I just found it funny. I was like, wow, like just add my ex into the mix. Why don't you? Like. So yeah, this diversion made me miss 2 almost free flights. I missed the flight to Reykjavik, I missed the flight to Oslo, and then I almost missed my flight to Haugesund. And so, but other things that happened other than like missing a few flights is I don't remember what airport we were in. So I don't know why I keep saying we, because it was actually just me. So whenever I say we, I mean I, because I traveled alone. But we were in, I think, Reykjavik, and we're like, you know, backing off. I'm like, okay, finally, you know, I got on the plane. And so we back out of the fucking terminal thing in Reykjavik, and then all of a sudden, like, literally the whole plane turns off. The fucking screens, everything, like quiet, dead quiet, and we were already backed up quite a bit. And I thought that maybe this is something that could happen and that it might not be a thing, but my dad's a pilot actually, and I asked him, is this something that can happen, or why would this happen? And my dad even said that's like not good, like that shouldn't happen, like that shouldn't happen. And so yeah, I remember the person beside me was saying like, he said something like, I hope that better not happen in the air, or like, is the plane okay? People were kind of concerned, like, why did this just happen? Because it is kind of, you don't realize how loud the plane is even just when you're on the ground, because it's already started kind of when you're going into it. So it like went dead silent, and I was like, well then, and I thought to myself, and we were like that for like 5 minutes, and it was all dark, and then I was thinking, I'm gonna be stuck here probably. Like, I'm like, what, like, how is all of this stuff happening? Oh yeah, and I think on this same plane actually, I just want to shortly mention this, and this is funny, my mom even said this was hilarious. So I sit beside this woman, I'm by the window, and I'm sitting beside this woman who I don't even know how to describe her, but I could just tell from when I walked in that she was kind of like off or kind of weird. She had these gloves on, like black gloves, and she like was sitting, I don't know if I can show you guys, but she was just sitting like straight up with her hands in her laps, and like just sitting really upright, and like as if she's like a soldier or something. And I'm like, oh god, like, and then I sneeze, and I do this when I sneeze. This is what I was taught to do, is to do this and not this, because then you get it on your hands. But then she just said like, basically like, can you use a Kleenex, ma'am, or something like that. And then she's like, I have Kleenex for you, and I'm like, I can use my own Kleenex, ma'am. And then it happened a second time, and by reflex I did this, and then she's like, ma'am, you're gonna have to use your Kleenex, or that's not good enough doing that. And I'm like, I'm trying to be nice, I'm like, I'm sorry, like, it's a reflex for me. And she's like, well, I need you to do that or whatever. I'm like, okay, like, you know, one thing is being kind of weird about that stuff, another thing is just being rude about that stuff. Like, just like explain to me that you have a thing, I don't know if you're germaphobe. And so here's the funny part. It happened again. I by reflex did this, like, it comes so fast, and my sneezes are just like air pretty much. It's just like a tickle sneeze. It wasn't sick. And so yeah, and she has her little fucking, what's it called, the things in front of her eyes, and like she's sitting there like straight up, and she has like her little gloves on, maybe because she's like a germaphobe. And then I sneeze automatically again like this, and then she like literally like wakes up, or like whatever, maybe she's not sleeping, and she like takes her thing up, and then I have my Kleenex and I put it up to my nose as if I just like put it and like used it, and then she's like, okay, like fine, she used it even though I didn't use it. Oh, it's funny. Oh yeah, and then the very last flight going home to Norway, we had technical difficulties on the plane, that pilot said, and so we had to wait for 25 minutes before we could take off from, I think it was, yeah, from Oslo. And yeah, and I was like, wow. And the guy beside me even was like, well, I hope they fix these technical difficulties. I'm like, I rarely have delays, I rarely have things like this happen. Sometimes there might be something, but like all in this one trip, I'm like, what the fuck? And now comes the fun part too. They lost my luggage. Not just the one way, but also going back to Canada. And I'm pretty sure it's Icelandair that lost it, because I lost it on my way to Norway, and then I also lost it when I landed in Edmonton, because when I went back, I landed in Edmonton. A bunch of people didn't have their luggage from my Icelandair, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how can I lose my luggage both ways? Like, how? I don't understand. Like, what? And so I sent the complaint now to Icelandair because like I've never ever, at least that I remember, traveling alone like without my family as a kid and stuff. I've never lost my luggage. I've traveled, like I have a bunch of fucking airplane tickets I used to hang on my wall. I've traveled so many times, never ever has anyone lost my luggage. I ended up getting it, but like they didn't deliver it like as they should, kind of a thing, on schedule. I've never had that happen. I had it happen twice on going to my destination and coming home from my destination, which is fucking crazy. So that is one of the most annoying parts, especially because they forced us, or like they made us drive all the way to the airport to get it when I went back to Norway. They did drive it out to my destination in Canada though, maybe because I live in a city in Canada and I live in a little small town when I'm in Norway. And so then I just have some small things going back to Canada. And then I just want to mention a few things that happened going back to Canada. So what happened when I went from Haugesund to Oslo is that I guess I didn't close my suitcase properly. So I have like... am I gonna show you? So there's a suitcase, right? And then there's a lock on this side, lock on this side, and then a lock in the middle. What I forgot to do is I forgot to lock it in the middle, and so it kind of half opened in the airplane going to Oslo, and I had to pick up my luggage in Oslo, thank God. So I found out about this, and so they took forever to let all the luggage out, probably like half an hour to 40 minutes, and I'm wondering if it's because maybe it opened up more, maybe it opened up a bunch in the fucking plane and they had to like put shit back in, because it was like, it wasn't gaping open, but it was like I don't know, shit could have fallen out, and I'm thinking maybe that happened and that's why all the luggage was delayed. But yeah, like shit like that's never happened to me. Like, why is all this happening on this trip? I'm always so careful with things and like double checking things, and like I fucking didn't lock my suitcase. So that's the fucking lesson to you guys, is to lock your suitcase, because it can happen that it opens in the fucking plane, and that happened to me. I don't think I lost anything really. I haven't noticed anything yet, and I've been home for like, or back in Canada for like 2 or 3 weeks. But yeah, and then also in Oslo, oh, I forgot to say, in Oslo, or actually the day before I was gonna leave to go back to Canada, I was trying to check in, and then it turned out that the fucking, 2 of my tickets were cancelled somehow, and I'm thinking it's because I had to reschedule my route going to Norway, and somehow maybe the system had a glitch, and so it cancelled some of my tickets going back to Canada. I don't know how that happened, and so I had to go fucking from desk to desk in Oslo trying to figure out this ticket thing, and like I ended up having to call Icelandair and they fixed it for me, but I just got a phone bill of like $40 for that one call to Icelandair, because I called from Norway to Iceland with my Canadian phone, and so that's just another thing on top of it. I also ended up missing a meal that I had ordered for the plane that I paid for because I couldn't make that flight going back to Norway. Sorry, this is also complicated, but this is all in one trip, and I don't know, I was thinking of making it about a specific airline. I've never traveled with, maybe I did when I was younger, but I have maybe traveled once with Icelandair other than this time, but I don't think so. I think, I don't know, it might have been a different Icelandic company, but anyways, and I've just had issues this time, like traveling with Icelandair. Like I usually do Lufthansa or KLM, or I have done Air Canada and it's been fine. It's not my favorite. Anyways, this isn't an airline review, but let me know if you want me to do an airline review, that would be cool. But yeah, and so I had to figure out all of that stuff out, and that was kind of annoying because I had to go through like a bunch of different desks, and it was kind of annoying because like, I don't know, you just feel like you're like running around. Thank God I had a bunch of time in Oslo to do this. If not, I would have missed my flight. But yeah, I ended up getting it fixed. Ended up paying $40 for a fucking phone call, so I have sent a request to get that covered by Icelandair. Hopefully they do that. If not, I don't know, maybe I'll direct them to this video so you guys can see all the issues I had on my trip. And then also in Oslo there was this drunk guy that was trying to get like violent, and he was picking up, you know those things they have, those posts they have that they divide and make lines with? This drunk guy was like picking up this fucking post and like running after these people, and I'm like, God, and then the police came. And then I'm just listing all the shit that went wrong. And then when I got on the plane finally from Reykjavik to Edmonton, like the long flight, I actually like those flights because I can just sit and watch a movie and have some wine and fucking have a great time. I actually feel so little anxiety when I'm on a plane. Like all I can do is just sit and watch movies, unless I have schoolwork to do, but now I am not in school anymore. But anyways, and yeah, and then I'm like, oh, I could sit and have wine and watch a movie. I thought. So the screen didn't end up working in the seat that I was in, but thank God there was actually a seat like quite close to me, an aisle seat, that I could just move there and I used the screen there. But I just found it hilarious how like that thing also went wrong. Like how was all this stuff going wrong? And then the last thing, like I already mentioned, I lost my luggage going to get back to Canada as well. I'm gonna end the video here. I just wanted to like put that out there. I find it really interesting that so many things can go wrong in one trip, and like I don't know if I would attribute it to like law of attraction. I don't know. I have like, maybe I should do a video on law of attraction because like I believe in law of attraction, but I don't know, more in a like practical scientific way. I don't know how to explain it. I'm going off on tangents. I haven't been on video in a long time and I'm just babbling. I'm gonna end this here because this is gonna be a fucking 20-minute long video probably after I edit it. I hope you guys find this entertaining to see the fucking mess that is my life right now. And this is just on top of the other shit that I've been going through. I was a fucking mess. Like I was crying in the airport. It was so funny when I was in Oslo. I was like crying, and then I was like talking English, and they asked for my passport, and then they saw it was Norwegian, and then you're like, oh, you speak Norwegian, and I'm like, yeah, but no. Like I'm like, I didn't want to talk Norwegian because I was so in English, and it's hard to switch over sometimes. Like, anyways, I was a fucking mess. I've been a mess, but hey, I'm back, and I'm gonna start posting more videos, and I hope you guys are excited for that because I am. Let me know what kind of stuff you guys want to see from me. It could be anything really. I like to do diverse things on my channel. Yeah, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Mara Christina on Instagram. I do like pole dancing stuff. I should probably post more there. I will try to do that. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and if not, try to make your day great somehow. Bye!